Let's talk a little bit about the communication that's involved in the outfield. I think probably one of the hardest things to do as an outfielder is stay in the game mentally. Unfortunately, the outfielders don't get the ball as much as the infielders, and one of the biggest habits that many of our outfielders develop is they don't pay attention. I rely on my outfield to be talking, anticipating, moving on every single pitch. One of the first things that they have to be aware of is the type of team that we're playing. Are they a team that likes to run a lot? Are they a team that has a lot of big hitters that can hit the ball long and far? Are they a team that's scrappy and they bunt a lot, they steal a lot? If the outfielders aren't thinking about all these things, the person that's in the lineup, the runners on base, what inning it is, how strong their wing outfielders are. Let's say I'm the center fielder. How good is my left fielder's arm? How good is my right fielder's arm? Are they quick? How about my infielders? How well are they able to cover their area on a fly ball? Of course, many of us can catch that fly ball that's hit right to us. But what about that ball that's hit between outfielders? How about that ball that's hit between an outfielder and an infielder? Many of you have seen on television ball players that are paid millions of dollars to play the game, and you'll see two outfielders going 100 miles an hour, and they don't have a communication system that is able to keep them from running into each other. One system that we use to help and aid in communication is we have a reference point between outfielders and infielders when the last point they can call the ball. Now you'll notice any routine fly ball, it actually takes an arc where it travels up, reaches its peak, and then comes down. What we teach our outfielders is they have all the time as the ball is going up, until it reaches its peak flight. That is when I require my outfielders and infielders to call the ball. Someone has to claim the ball by its peak flight. That way, it allows us a little extra time in case there is some miscommunication to clear the air. Someone can call it and the ball is just starting to come down. Also, the second most important part regarding that reference system is who calls it and what happens if we have two people calling the ball. It's simple. If you have a center fielder and a left fielder, or a center fielder and a right fielder, both calling the ball, it's always the center fielder's ball. They are our quarterback in the outfield. What happens if we have an outfielder and an infielder calling it at the same time before it reaches its peak flight? The outfielder always has the ball. The third thing that you want to consider is what happens if that ball is hit smack in between two outfielders. They're both running as hard as they can. It's not a real high fly. They don't have a lot of time to call that ball, and there is that what we call confusion in the outfield. We just want to have a system to keep the outfielders from running into each other. And it's very simple. We have running lanes. What's a running lane? Well, you have a center fielder and you have what I call a wing or a left fielder. They're both going for that ball that's going to be hit between them. Maybe like a line shot, but they want to try and catch it. Well, what do? Many times you've seen on television ball players that are paid millions of dollars and they go right for each other. They're not really communicating. They don't have a running lane to run in. Smack right into each other. The ball drops to the ground. If you have a running lane, even though you're not real sure who's catching the ball, the only contact you may have is maybe the arms or the gloves. Because as a center fielder, I always know that if we're both running, I take what is called the inside lane. The inside lane is the lane closest to the infield. If I'm a left fielder or a right fielder, I take what is called the outside lane, the lane closest to the fence. That way, we can both try and catch it in case we don't know who has it and we don't collide straight into each other. So let's go ahead and show some outfielders working on when to communicate, when to call the ball, and then also show the outfielders working on the running lane.